trunk, I open up, I sold my soul a good price. Out of sight, and my hoe got talent.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Diamond. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Also the bell to get notified every single time that I post. And if you're not new, welcome back to my channel, guys. As y'all can see by today's title, no, you guys did not read this wrong. Your girl is starting a podcast. Yes, I'm starting a podcast, y'all. I've been wanting to do this for years. I've been working actually on this for years. I know this may seem like a shock to a lot of people because I have not mentioned this to anybody. Like, nobody. My close friends don't know. My family don't know. Nobody knows. I never really mentioned it, but it just seems like this time right now is the time that I need to be doing this. I've been having this feeling for a minute that like this is what I should be doing, and I decided to finally just like act on it and just give it a shot and just see if I like it and see what it's about and see, you know, if you guys like it, to see what exactly I can do with this. But without further ado, let's just jump right into this and give you guys all the details about this podcast. Okay guys, so first things first, what exactly am I calling my podcast? What is the title? What is it going to be named? Whatever. So the title of my podcast is called Time Bomb. Yes, y'all, Time Bomb. That is the title of my podcast. The reason why I decided to call my podcast Time Bomb is because I feel as though you only have a certain amount of time on this earth, and you only have a certain amount of time with your loved one, with your friends, everything along that. I just feel like we need to take advantage of it. And if you guys aren't following on why exactly I called this podcast Time Bomb, we're gonna go a little bit more deeper. For those who don't know, my mom actually passed away back in 2019. I was 17 years old. I'm currently 20, turning 21 in August. But my mom passed away when I was 17 years old, guys. I was still in high school, didn't graduate yet. It was my senior year, and it was hard. It is still hard. It's extremely hard, and I had no idea what was going on. It just seemed like my life was over. It was, what is going on? I had no idea what my life was going to look like moving forward. I had no idea how I was going to move forward. I had no idea what a normal life for me would look like now, because my mom was everything, held the house together, everything. So with that being said, I took it hard, and I don't think people really understood how hard I took it because I never really showed it on the outside. I only mentioned it once on this channel. I don't mention it on any of my social media accounts, like nothing. And I think the first time and the last time I mentioned it was when I dropped, it's when I dropped my documentary series, Life After My Mother's Murder. That was the 1-year anniversary of the day my mom had passed that I had released that. And it pretty much just encapsulated everything that had happened from the day my mom had passed up until that next year. So to complete the whole year. But I never talked about it since. I posted it, and that was that. And in reality, like, it's not like, oh, just that 1 year was hard. It's like, no, my whole entire life now is hard. It's not like, it's hard. It's hard. Like, life, losing a parent, losing a loved one, especially someone in an unexpected way, is extremely hard. And I still go through struggles, and I still have bad days, and I still have very, very rough weeks and months and everything like that. And I just feel like it's not talked about enough. So that's pretty much where this name had came from. And I want to be able to let people know, like, what is genuinely like. I get so many questions about it, and I kind of just sweep it under the rug, but I don't want to do that no more. Yeah, I just don't want to do that no more because that's not how it is. It's just not how it is. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the goal. What is the goal of this podcast, y'all? So the goal of this podcast is I want to be able to inspire people. I want to be able to be there for people. I want people to know that they're not alone, because there was a lot of times, and there probably still are a lot of times, and there probably still going to be a lot of times in the future, that you constantly feel like no one understands you, no one understands what you're going through, especially if it isn't someone that has been in the exact same situation as you. But the crazy part about it is no one's ever ever going to be in the exact same situation as you. My brother is not in the exact same situation as me. So no one's ever going to be in the exact same situation as you. So having this mentality that you feel alone and that no one feels what you feel is honestly so crazy to think about. But at the same time, death is a natural thing. Like, everyone comes on this earth on a certain day and everyone leaves on a certain day. But the whole crazy part about it is no one talks about it, like, ever. And I just think that is insane. Like, that's so crazy to me that no one ever talks about it. And it's kind of like a mystery, like a gray area, dark hole, dark path. You have no idea what you're getting into and you're just wandering blind. Like, you just can't see. And I feel like it wasn't until and I don't even do this all the time, but it wasn't until I heard certain people talk about it that, like, personally, like, one-on-one, that I was like, okay, so you do feel how I feel, or you do kind of understand what I get. But there are a lot of people who don't have that, because for the longest, I didn't have that. I didn't have someone that understood exactly every single little thing, and no one's ever going to understand exactly what you're feeling. But these emotions that you feel, there are other people that feel it, and there are other people that understand what it feels like to have a rough day, a rough week, a rough month, and everything along those lines. So my main goal for this podcast is I genuinely just want to build a community, build a foundation where we can all talk, you guys can all understand, and you guys, other listeners, can reach out to each other, and I can also reach out to people too. I also want to say though that this podcast is not only for people who have lost someone or who are grieving or going through this process. This podcast is also for people who know or are associated with someone that has lost someone. For example, like, if your boyfriend or your girlfriend has lost someone, or your sister or your mom or your dad. And I think people get this misconception that it's like, oh, well, only the person that is grieving needs, like, help. And it's like, no, because the person or the people that you have surrounding by you will make or break you. And I can't stress that enough, can make or break you. But at the same time, some of those people have no idea what they're saying. They have no idea what is going on. There's some people don't even know what to say. And I feel like this is why I'm telling, like, the podcast isn't just for someone that's grieving, isn't just for someone who just recently lost someone. It is for everybody, so that we can all educate each other and everyone can understand maybe how to approach a spouse, or maybe how to approach a friend or mom or dad or a grandmother, things along those lines. Because I felt like, for me personally, there were so many people that genuinely, now looking back on, had no idea how to approach me, did not know what to say out their mouth, and kind of just said anything. And then at the same time, I also want other people to understand that, like, this is going to happen. It's life. It genuinely is life. And it honestly, this podcast doesn't even have to, it's not even mainly focused on death. It's focused on just losing something, someone special. Whether that means you're no longer friends with somebody, whether that means you just got a divorce, whether that means you just lost a job or something like that. It's just dealing with the process. Because one thing I've learned, and when people say when someone dies or when you go through, like, a tragic event, people will show their true colors. When people said that, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, like, blah, 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 like, whatever. But they do. Like, they genuinely show you they genuinely show their true colors. And I've lost so many friendships, so many connections due to this event that had happened into my life, due to my mom passing. And honestly, like, it's a good and bad thing. I've learned a lot, and I can take away, and I, may feel some type of way that I lost that relationship, but at the end of the day, like, this podcast isn't just going to be about death. It's genuinely going to be about losing people or losing a loved one. Like I said, whether that's, like, friendship, relationship wise, or anything along those lines, just dealing with, like, mental health and some of the things that I battled with, and some of the things that I know other people have battled with, and things along those lines. Because I don't want to give it that, oh, it's going to be so sad all the time, and it's only just going to be talking about death, because that's not what I want. That's not how I want to see this podcast going. That's not how I plan this podcast to be. I genuinely just want this to be a community for any and everybody. And even if it's like, oh, I'm just listening to an episode on how to be a good friend to someone who has lost someone, someone, like something along those lines, because like I said, a lot of people just don't know, and I just want to educate people, and I also want people to educate me. Like, I'm learning, everyone's learning type of thing. Now, the next thing, guys, is where can you follow this podcast? Where will this podcast be dropped? What platforms will it be on? Okay, guys, so I decided to release the podcast on Spotify and on YouTube on this YouTube channel. Every Sunday, there will be a video dropping on this YouTube channel. It will just be audio. I personally love when podcasts are also on YouTube channels because I can just play it on the TV, clean, do whatever I have to do some homework, listen to it, chill out on the balcony, things along those lines. And then it will also be dropped on Spotify. For those who do have Spotify, those are my two platforms that I'm going to be using to drop, like I said, on Spotify and on YouTube. Both episodes will be dropped at the same time. They will all be correlated. Everything will align, so not one platform is getting something different. Both platforms will be the same. Every platform will have a new episode up on Sunday morning. So yes. So now, where can you guys follow this podcast at? Where can you guys stay up to date? Now, you guys can follow this podcast on Instagram at Time Bomb Podcast. Yes, Time Bomb Podcast on Instagram. And on this Instagram page, not only am I going to be dropping, letting people know that there's a new episode, I'm going to be posting inspirational quotes, little things, little fun facts, things that I've learned, things that people tell me, things that therapists have taught me, things along those lines to help people cope, to help people learn some interesting facts, things along those lines, and also just to have people motivated and have a good day every single day. And even if it's one encouraging quote every single day, that's what I plan on the Instagram being. Now, guys, the final thing. When is this podcast dropping? Are y'all ready for this? Because the podcast is dropping on March 20th, 2022. Yes, guys, this Sunday the podcast is dropping. Yes, this Sunday. Now, the reason I decided to drop this podcast on a Sunday, on March 20th in particular, is because it is the first day of spring, y'all. And I want this podcast to be a growth thing. I want to grow from this. I want my listeners to grow from this. I genuinely want everybody to grow. I want this to be a community, like I've stated multiple times in this video. I just want it to be a growth, and spring symbolizes growth, new era, new everything. I want people to flourish into the people that they are going to become in the future. And I want people to really just understand who they are and understand life and just go through life. So, yes, guys, I know I just said a lot. I'm like, I cannot believe that I'm really dropping a podcast. But like I said, guys, it's dropping this Sunday, March 2022 on Instagram and Spotify. Time Bomb Podcast will be dropping this March 20th, 2022. It's so insane to finally say. I'm so excited I finally get to announce it to you guys, because I've been working on this for forever, and I put my heart, my soul, everything into this, so much energy and time and effort. I really hope you guys enjoy this. Like I said, you guys can also go follow the podcast down below on Instagram at Time Bomb Podcast on Instagram. But without further ado, I'm gonna see you guys later, guys. Stay tuned for the podcast. Stay tuned for all my other videos that will be coming up on this channel. Without further ado, I'll see you guys later. Adios, guys.